Hey everybody, it's Maggie from Personal Euphoria with today's plank story. If you don't want to do plank, you're going to stand up with a wide stance and circle your hips like you're tracing a hula hoop. Do a few in one direction, reverse it, and just have fun playing hula hoop, right? All right, so Matt and I are headed on a trip to Copenhagen and Greenland. And we're going to Copenhagen in part because the only way you can get to Greenland, not by boat, is to fly via Iceland or Copenhagen. And we'd been to Iceland, so we're like, let's do something new. We'll go to Copenhagen. And I am 100% excited about that choice because everyone tells me they love Copenhagen. But it dawned on me like earlier this week, it means I'm like flying to Europe to kind of fly back north, and then we're retracing that home when we could have just hopped north and had a much shorter flight. But no, I'm looking forward to Copenhagen, so I'm okay with that. Ask me again on the flights home when we are coming kind of straight home. But so last night I started to do a little research on Greenland because when I go somewhere I like to be familiar with who's in charge, what's the government, what do they speak, and I realized I didn't know any of that about Greenland, and I learned some interesting facts. So, for example, Greenland is the country with the smallest population density. Now, on the one hand, that might be a little unfair because I don't think most of their country is livable because it's a glacier. But still, I mean, their population is roughly 50,000 people. So what I learned is that this is what Matt and I are drawn to on vacation. Because of the 5 lowest population density countries, after Greenland, we'll have been to 4 of them. So Greenland has the least, then Mongolia, where we've been, then Namibia, which is one of my favorite trips ever, then Australia, and then Iceland, where we've also been. So first of all, I guess we've got to make sure we prioritize Australia, which has been high on my list. I've wanted to go there for years. It's actually the place I want to go the most if it wasn't quite so far away. And then I laugh when I realize basically the flight I've chosen to get to Greenland could have been a flight to Australia. So anyway, lowest population density. The capital has about 20,000 people. And on our itinerary, it'll be we're going to stop in this town. It has 1,500 people. It's the 3rd largest town in Greenland. So small communities, I think. It also mentioned a couple of sites said, if locals invite you into their home, remember to take your shoes off. And I thought, is this normal? Should we expect locals to invite us into our home? And I'm always skeptical when I read stuff online before you go. I like to try to be informed, but not presume it's necessarily fact. I do feel like it's easier to get accurate information now than it used to be. But I'm always reminded years ago when Beijing hosted the Olympics, I think, was that 2008? I remember reading an article in the New Yorker about how China had basically put out to anyone who was going to come in contact with tourists, so to taxi drivers and shopkeepers, they wanted people to anticipate the needs or cultural aspects of people who would be coming into the country. So they put out sort of this guidebook of what you should know about Americans, what you should know about Canadians, what you should know about Germans. And what I remember reading is that what they had said that all these people should be prepared for the Americans was that they do not like to talk about politics or religion, so don't bring it up. And they're really afraid of bats. And I'm sure that kind of comes from our Halloween traditions, but I wouldn't necessarily say being afraid of bats is what defines us. So sometimes the information is close, but not quite right. So I'm interested to see for myself because it's one of my favorite parts of travel. The landscape, the place, the culture, all of that. So Iceland and Greenland. I should come back hopefully with some plank stories. Have a great day and keep moving.